This is where the song starts to kind of explode. It gets really difficult from here. So let's have a look at this, shall we? So yeah, so you just come from the. So that is. But yeah, it's pretty simple what's happening melodically, except we've gone from either our natural minor or our Dorian sound we've had before to a Phrygian sound. Phrygian being a natural minor sound, but with a flat 9 or flat 2. So we get this this kind of eastern sound. So you start on the octave, that D up there. What I like to do is pick that with an upstroke, and then all of these with down picks. Then you come up here and you go. So that's just your root to your F, your root D, your flat 3 F. And this part I play with alternate picking. Just feels more comfortable, but. Yeah. That's the really hard part of this riff, is these little extra inflections you get. So you have. Third time. Fourth time. So yeah, so that's just. You do the exact same way on that fourth bar. So that is flat 5, A flat, G, F, D. I like to play this with an open D. I can't tell, but I think on the actual bass recording, he's going back there. Because you can hear that note's kind of getting lost, that D, so it's. But that's really difficult to get it. To go from there to your third finger to then up there. That's really tricky, so I like to play it with an open D there. That gives you a second to get back to this open D here. Another trick you can do with this is you can play that first D after the octave high. You can play that as an open D as well. The tricky part I have with that is muting afterwards. Because you can just tell like that note sounds more aggressive to me than that open D. Just the string gauge being slightly thicker, being able to hammer it a bit more. It just sounds better to me. So I try and to aim for that 5th fret D instead of the open D there. But as long as you get the notes in, it's fine. If you listen to the actual bass part that Elson played, he doesn't get this completely accurate all the time either, because it's really hard. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, so the first one is that part to lead you back to that high D there. Start the phrase again. The second time, you have this. So that's just the same phrase twice. It happens earlier. Yeah. So you don't end up playing that. Go up to that flat 3 there. This little part interrupts that. But this is that exact same phrase, just flat 5, 4, flat 3, root. So altogether you have. Really hard to keep this clean and consistent because there's a lot going on. But yeah, tricky, not easy to get right every single time. And then we actually get to the hardest riff in the whole thing, which is this bugger. So we've been in D minor this whole time, doing some little modal ideas, you know. We're just in D Phrygian for that part. Now we're in F sharp. And it's kind of, yeah, more of an F sharp Phrygian thing. So yeah, so this is where it's actually easier on guitar, because they're not in drop D, so they can play it in that kind of position rather than a... But yeah, let me play you the line. That's the line. So you've got two chromatic approach notes to this F sharp. Then you have the octave. So what I like to do is first finger, second finger, third finger to go up to the F sharp. Then my fourth finger plays the octave up there. That feels pretty good to play, actually. And then you're back on that F sharp again. And then you have, so that's the F sharp going up to the A there, to that minor third. And then you have the F sharp again. Now he plays a flat 2, so he plays G. And you go up a G power chord, so you got G, D, and then G again. So really, you could think of this as like F sharp Locrian, because you've got the flat 2 and the flat 5. But yeah, it's just kind of a little embellishment. Most of it, you're just in kind of F sharp minor pentatonic riffage thing with some chromatic approach notes. But yeah, this, you kind of think of that as like an F sharp Locrian thing. Just, I mean, I don't think Megadeth particularly thought of it as an F sharp Locrian thing, but it is what it is. So anyway, chromatic approach notes to the F sharp, octave F sharp, back down, to the minor third, to the A, to this G. And they're sliding this. You can slide from the F sharp to the G and not play it, or you can. I like to pick all of them. I think that's what Ellison's doing on the actual record. So yeah, and then you're back to. So it's the exact same pattern, but instead of doing the G part, you go. So that's just going to be flat 5, flat 5, 4, flat 3, root again. So it's that same exact pattern we had with the, but now we're in F sharp minor. So C, B, A, F sharp. This does form a slight complication when we go to the next part. So you have, because now we're doing an upstroke on this chromatic approach note. So you're going to end up down picking that F sharp up there, which can take a bit of getting used to. So practice it how you would like to play it, as in with an upstroke there, and practice it. It's not sounding exactly the same. You can kind of lean into that. You can. I'm getting some, you know, I'm kind of slapping it with the pick. Like, you can see this. I'm kind of. To get some, you know, it's a metal song. You can get some stank on it. You can, you know, kind of lay into that a little bit more. But yeah, practice it with the upstrokes, and then a downstroke on this octave, just to get that in your head. Then it's the exact same pattern again, and this time, you know, you've got enough time. You can play that in the position you'd like to play it in, with starting with down picking. Then you go around again. This is where it gets really tricky. This is the slidey bit. This is the part that's really hard to keep consistent. So it starts off the same as the second pattern from before, where you have your flat 5, 4, flat 3, root. So yeah, so you have this same pattern you had before, but now you go up a semitone and play that same shape again. Only that's really hard to do when you're in drop D. For the guitar players, you know, Mustaine and Marty Friedman, they're going. No, comparatively quite easy. It's that same shape again, but for us we got to go, and then you go 4th fret, so C sharp, C. So yeah. So instead of being in F sharp, we're now in effectively G. So you got D flat, C, B flat, G. It's the same as that shape, but it's the same as that figure rather. But now it's. But yeah, just putting it up one semitone, suddenly it's incredibly difficult because it's. F sharp is a great key in regular E standard. It's a great key for drop D because. You can just play it that 4th and you've still got access to that flat 3 there. Do that kind of stuff all the time, but G sucks. G's awful. Why would you ever play in G? Ugh. So yeah, so you got to go D flat, C, B flat there, G there. The other way you could do it is, I guess you could go to the B flat there. Which may in theory be the better way of doing it. The issue I have with that is immediately after you play this low G here, you need to hit that note again. You need to hit that D up there. Which if you're doing it in this shape, I can't get that and get the notes out of that. That's too stretchy, too many things to go from either a 4th finger there to your 4th finger up there, or your 3rd finger there to your 4th finger up there. So I'm forced to play it B flat, C, B flat, D flat, C, B flat, A, B flat, G, and then you play D up there. You know, getting that consistent is really tough. And then you're back to that figure again with the, which is totally fine. But yeah. The only other like slight trick you can do is instead of picking that last G, is do it as a pull off. Which I'm not unconvinced isn't what he's doing on the record. It's kind of hard to tell. It's happening really fast, but it's possible that he's going B flat, pull off to G there. To give you a little bit more time to get up to that D. I don't know, maybe he's doing that, but yeah, it's following the guitar part. For a while, I was playing it as, I thought it was that little, it pays a debt. Les Mis fans out there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he is just following the guitar part, and it is just that, it is that pentatonic figure, rather than, this moon may save my poor Cosette. Yeah, so the rest of the song is basically just a combination of and those two patterns. The only other thing, like after I think he does it a couple of times. You go around from that to the F sharp figure, back to that, and then after that you go to the F sharp figure again. But then instead of going back to that, you're now playing. Okay, so this again is a bugger. There's so much finger stuff going on here that like, after a few rounds of this, you are gonna get knackered. I've been playing the song since I was like 15 and I'm still just like, I just tires, fingers, don't want to play, no tires, no, basically. So what's going on here? So you can think of this as still F sharp Phrygian. So we got that. Because that's where the song is eventually going to resolve. It's going to resolve down to that F sharp. So I'm thinking of this as F sharp Phrygian, in which case you got flat 9 on the G, F sharp, E. Yeah, so you play that first figure, G, F sharp, E. And then what I like to do is to come up here with my first finger still. You're F sharp, G, A, G, F sharp. So you can separate it into like 2 groups of 3. So you have, yeah, G, F sharp, E, F sharp, G, A, G, F sharp. It's a really cool little phrase, and it's flying by at breakneck speed, so you don't always notice it. But yeah, that's a really cool little phrase. So yeah, so you have the, and then you do this, you slide up to this flat 9. It's really important you get the slide, or else it just sounds wrong. That's the part I always fuck up still to this day, is going from this time it probably would be easier to play it in the other position. So yeah, you do the F sharp thing, that little pattern, and then you're back to that one. End it in exactly the same way. But now you actually got to stay on that G. So if you end it in the same way with that first finger, then you got to move it back down and play it with your 4th finger again to be in that position. So this time it's probably correct to play it. So you'd be ending the last note of that phrase, that G. And then it would also be the first note of the next phrase, so. Yeah, that actually makes sense. You'd play that second, when you're going to the G pattern, when you're going to the F sharp Phrygian, that pattern, you would play it in this position. And when you're going back to that, you'd play it in this position. And again, I always say this, but it's really great to learn things in multiple positions and in multiple fingerings, because a lot of the times the way you're going to play something is dependent on what's coming after it as well. So in this case, if I'm going back to this octave D here, it's way easier to be first finger on this G, so I can have my 4th finger free to go up there. Whereas if I go like that, it's more comfortable to land that on my 4th finger. So obviously I have to play it with my 3rd finger if I'm going to leave this 4th finger free. So that's already kind of awkward. And then I've got to go this really weird jump to make that work. So, but obviously the second time, there's no weird jumps at all. It's exactly how you'd want to start that phrase. So that's the way you should do it. So yeah, learn the exact same phrase, just 2 different ways of doing it, because they accomplish different things in how they approach the next phrase. And yeah, that's the song. It's literally just that. It's actually really simple. If you look at the guitar parts, you're going to have much more complicated time because the solos are mad. Yeah, it's definitely, this album's just incredible for guitar solos. Like, Marty Friedman is in his prime, in my opinion, on this particular album. So yeah. But yeah, that's Hangar 18. This was probably 2 videos. This is probably part 2. So thank you very much for watching. Yes, more videos coming super soon.